When you know what you know, you know what you know. And in this case, we get to choose the essence of you and I. So, what that means is when you consistently choose to stay kind and unconditionally loving and know that evil slash unkindness doesn't change you, none of it. If you choose, life doesn't change you if you choose. What do you choose? Well, you choose how to handle the self that you are. Okay, and here is your lovely 5D mystic in the Enlightenment Soul Age Group, Functional Adult. We do spiritual self-help, personal development here at IHP. You get to hear voices and stories, and this one is going to be randomly integrating a bunch of different things as we get to know each other better, and as you get to know me better, and as we get organized for our lovely spiritual retreat, our masterclass, one-to-one mentorship, and any and all of those that are activities for the people who want to do emotions and that are part of our 5D collective. So with that, I'm attachment trauma informed as well. And anytime I hear the whole change and life, I think of a couple and more things. One, my course with Dr. Daniel Siegel on change and consciousness. Now I know how to explain why a person who doesn't have separation from the infinite sphere of consciousness doesn't feel changed, because when you don't have separation from what is Akash and the essence of love and life is what I call it. I can also call it God. I can call it Reiki, the love energy, intelligence. Okay, so for a 5D mystic and for I'm a divine feminine, every one of my brothers and sisters and the expanded oversoul are people. And that's why when I talk to you about moods, like with one of our stories, it's not evil, it's unkindness, but I'm used to Cusco's, is what I'm going to say. So, we all have moods, is all I'm going to say about that one. And when I think of evil, that's not what comes to my brain. In fact, this is why I don't believe in evil. I told God, hey, I see suffering. I do see unkindness. I don't see this evil, but I know what I'm supposed to do if I ever meet it in person. And as I'm praying, I was very I'm pretty scared shitless, but I know if you present me evil, that means that that's your decision. And ultimately, any person of faith knows that we don't choose what God sends us, and that there's nothing to be afraid of if you're a person of true faith. And so that's why you don't actually lose yourself. For me, as a mystic, I knew that once I became full-fledged with clairs, well, I'm not going to be a person that some of the people of my lovely faith, the Holy Spirit, will say, yeah, no. They'll actively be like, no, she's a tarot reader, an Akashic record reader, and a Reiki master. She's out. And that's because, people think yoga brings demons out of you. They think tarot is demonic. They think Akashic record reading, I don't even know if they know about it. But what I noticed instead is that spiritual gifts are the same as those clairs, clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, and that all the clairs are explainable by our neuroscientists. And so here we bring human, spiritual, and spirituality elements. The human is the sciences. And that's why with attachment and trauma, I've been able to notice, and I had already noticed, that people, when ascension energies come around, all that is unresolved, all that has been still unseen and untended to comes up. So if you have your sense of self, then you know about your 3-year-old, 1-year-old. You don't have trauma charges. And so if you have a sense of self, you know how to love. And then you don't lose your heart body, your value body, your energy body, physical or mental. So you don't need yoga because you don't need to get your ventral vagal nervous system toned, because you're consistently being yourself. Okay, so when you and the essence of you are the same, you don't feel changed. You feel more of you. So for me, moving into my light body, I recognized it because I had my confirmation and I remember it, the feeling of the Holy Spirit. And then choosing to stay open-hearted, also thank you, Jesus, and thank you, God, and humble, and all these beautiful words that to me mean something, but that I notice those who speak same words, they don't have integrity. They don't have the open heart, and they keep using Lucifer, the devil and demon, as an excuse to talk bad about yoga, about Sadhguru and spirituality, about Reiki, which actually heals and helps people and has its own lineage and its own history. They talk bad about basically anything that is not from their seal of approval, even the theologian, and if there's more that went out of their way to create what is a ridiculous qualitative, it's not even qualitative. You hide books, you keep in the past, but again, we're mystics, spiritual. This is in the territory of the invisible. You don't claim ownership over faith, which is why when I think of all that is right now, even here, I think of the word smart. Stable, mature, adaptive, rational, teachable. That's my acronym. Thanks, Daniel Siegel, for the idea. And I will say, as an entrepreneur online, solo, and a content creator, and a human being who uses my intellect to my volition and my emotional and all of me, this is exactly why when I told God what I told him, I knew what I was talking about with the whole evil thing, because I analyzed it thoroughly. And I didn't, and to this day, I'm 44, there's not evil the way that I got taught to expect it. Now, I know other people interpret that which is hurtful and harmful, and yeah, it's called they all need good therapy. It's called we have laws. So I use different words to say it's not evil. This word is, as Michael Stone presented, a forensic criminologist, a word that comes from philosophical and religious textbooks. And it comes with stories. We have educational material at this point. So we know no human being is inherently good or evil. This is why when someone's wanting to say humanity has no goodness or goodness is not what humanity is, you are a lack of educational human being, because your play of words won't be anything of meaningful to a human being who has a left mode that has assimilated good information on what the embodied brain is. And then who knows neuroscientists and neurobiologists and neuroscientists like Patrick McNamara, who prove there's no demon that possesses someone. And then also about DID and disorganized attachment, so that we have individuals in the same academia subject matter arenas that do not believe in their colleagues. Well, that's a whole different story. That's laughable to me, even more than when anyone within the spiritual realm, doesn't matter if they want to tell me they're a religious institution or not. The whole point of my bringing us here is that smart to me means you have open ears. Open your 2 ears, please. Shut the left mode up. Shut your 14-month-old. Shut up the little I like and don't like for a second if you want to tell me, the human being here, that you're smart. I'm spelling it out right now, okay? So you're going to shut up your likes and dislikes, which are called your implicit biases and explicit. Otherwise, you're completely unaware of yourself, which already makes you a lack of smart human being to me. You don't know yourself. You obviously don't know that you are ruled by your likes and dislikes. You're not talking to I'm not talking to human being. I'm talking to 14-month-old. You see what I'm saying? The minute I'm talking to 14-month-old, I'm not talking to you. I'm listening to you because you want the floor, 3-year-old. What do you want to tell me? Oh, yeah? Really? Are you going to present to me Hansel and Gretel? Give me your breadcrumb of trails, please. Actually, the more you list, the better it will be, so that I can go and verify for myself if I really want to get down to business. That's how my brain works. So the minute I know I got a 3-year-old, I'm just going to be humored because I saw all of them as a teenager when I was an active, I was an active smartass, but not in the way that others thought. I didn't mean to piss people off. I was just trying to say, you don't know everything. I don't know everything. Don't you know how bothered I am by this? Not because I want to have fancy prancy. No, it's because I love knowledge. I want to know things. When I can't understand something, and that happens, I don't know spaces. I actively am incapable at times. No, not at times. I don't know how to visualize, for example, 1 kilometer. Like, I don't know how to build things. There's this thing I was trying to build. I was not successful. I tried for like 8 hours. I left the room. I said, okay, you need to leave it alone. I know you don't like to give up on things, but you have to get it done now because you have the activity and this, you don't have the mathematical time. You need to come up with something different. But I was so upset. What has improved since I was a kid is the capacity to not be upset like a child. Does that change? Not really, because I was still just as bothered, quote unquote, but in a mature way, because I know why. I know my brain doesn't understand it. And I have not found someone who has the patience to explain to a 3-year-old brain that doesn't understand And that's where I know that a smart human being who cares, who's non judgmental, and therefore they will have the patience and they will have the desire that I want to help a person. And that's the part of where if I ever meet them, I will give them a big hug because I'm sure they'll help me figure out how to build something and how to figure out how to see spaces. It drives me crazy. So yeah, I don't like not knowing. But I learned that I was born unlearned. And so that's how it works. And your brain can only assimilate so much information. And so there's that. You can't make yourself learn more things than you can. And there's only 24 hours. So you see, okay, back to our story about smarts. Okay, so I don't see smarts when I see obtuse, ignorant, what are basically human beings who are knocking their head against the wall, if you will. That's exactly what it feels like whenever I am in the presence of unaware human beings who, in the energy sphere, excuse me. But anyway, side note, side note. So, again, evil, unkindness, therapy. Get your sense of self, get your whole integrated brain, then come back around and talk to me. And we'll have a grown up conversation. Other than that, I'm going to give you the 3-year-old floor because that's all you want, anyways. If you don't, you're going to notice and you're going to tell me, I don't want a 3-year-old floor. I actively want to get to know you. And that has happened. So we get to be surprised. Our divine feminine, yes, we get to be surprised by our divine masculines. That's beautiful. I love to be surprised. And that's because my brain tickles its fancy. And so does my emotional plane when I get to meet smart people. And so a smart divine masculine, they have their own divine feminine. Like a smart divine feminine has their own divine masculine, which is why the essence of them doesn't change. They stay open-hearted. And the divine masculines, well, they get home to their self. That's the business of the divine masculines, is that they're awakened to their sense of self by their divine feminines. And that's because we'll nurture by sharing unconditional love, not anything of let me contain you, let me whip you into shape, let me use you. No, that's not actual divine feminine or divine masculine. And that's because those are people who actively need first Terry Real, Patrick Teahan, Bezel Vanderkolk, Janina Fisher, Peter Levine. I know he's not taking patients anymore. Dr. Daniel Siegel, Dr. Daniel Fox. Who else? I know I'm forgetting. Diane Heller, Julianne, Ruth Lanius, Bethany, the whole NICABM team, Albert Wong, Sue Martin, my lovely Somatopia team of teachers and therapists. So basically anyone who's not smart in my book and who has an inner child that's not out to play that evil and kindness, yeah, they're all surrounded by therapists. What I was trying to get to about the people who want to tell me they own the Holy Spirit, you don't own anything, by the way. That's pretty straightforward. And the fact that you're unaware of your own way of chit-chatting just makes me know that you're a dominant left-brainer, that's all. So you're not impressive, because we meet plenty of people who are dominant regurgitation of material. I can do it too, I just don't want to, because I'm not an individual who's seeking to prove my faith or the Holy Spirit or Reiki or anything that is the essence of life and love. I actively know consciousness. The part about faith, it's blind, and it's blind though in a way that is open-hearted for those of true faith. So that's why they know that we have different voices and different stories, but the commonality of those of true faith will be to bring each other together in harmony and in inner and outer well-being, and that's for our entire globe, because love is all-inclusive. The only people who are under the illusion of having to select and be selective in this way of excluding are the same human beings who do not have integration of the brain. And in fact, they're the only ones who use the word evil and unkindness as if there's a need to demonize or romanticize it. And again, there's a lack of intelligence, complete lack of intelligence for a human being like myself. The minute you start talking like that, I'm already silent, because I am not in the room or the presence of intelligence. I'm in the presence of what is going to be a basically regurgitation of material who is going to share with me all their proof, which is going to be great. I get to hear your bibliography, and then I get to go and take a look at it, and I'll bet you that I get to figure out something that you didn't see because you're the one who knows everything, while I'm looking at it with curiosity, openness, acceptance, and love. Krishna Lila, the depths of the profound with playfulness, because Cuscos, they're clowns. It's not boring to be around clowns. They make you laugh, and I'm not kidding right now. You got a good laugh. When I notice people who don't understand what I'm trying to say, they get upset because they are the same people, though, who don't evaluate that their upsetness is a trust break that they have within their own self towards our species. It's called humanity, which then means that they have a trust break due to something that happened to them in their life. Then they say, in fact, those are the same people that say, people are evil and that changed me. Unkindness changed me. Life changed me. Basically, they say to me, they're saying God sent me shit and that changed me. So to me, a person of faith, you turned your back on God the minute you didn't get what you wanted. That means that you're a 14-month-old who switched a flip on a switch because you didn't get happy. Let me think about that one again. So no matter how you twist and turn it, for a person who doesn't have the breaking away from true faith, life, God, consciousness, you send it to me all. I already had my conversation with God, which is, if you send to me evil, I know what to do. You showed me the way with your son, and I will follow. And that is actually not hard, because turning the other cheek, forgiving, knowing that they don't know, and then blessed are those who believe without seeing. It's all like what Pacha tells Cusco. You have a heart. I know you do. You're a person. And for any time I see a person, they're a person. And today, as an attachment trauma-informed person, if they're ever in the space of this evil unkindness business, they need a therapist. I feel bad. And then, of course, I want all of society to be safe. I'm still thinking of what I wish that would happen to the 7 of 14 charming, because they pull the wool over the eyes of people. And those people put them on pedestals. And those people are the 1 to 7. And they can also be the 14 to 24. And they're all basically lost boys, lost girls, lost days who are following Peter Pan's. But then again, we have human being academics who say that humans need a silverback. They need ethical cults, culty cults, and traditional cults. And that polyamory people overestimate the usage of human being brains. So I guess they're all saying that people are stupid. I find it hard to believe that people are stupid, because seriously, I'm the woo-woo spiritual pseudoscience lady, and I'm not a genius. So I like to try and break things down like a 5-year-old. That's what I've been told. It supports people to understand things, but what I've noticed is you can walk a mule and a donkey and a horse to the well. Hey, I got some clear water right here. You know, your first 3 years of life, they matter, right? Do you know that trauma charges matter? Yeah? Find it hard to believe that all of this business is childhood trauma stuff. No, I don't believe it. I'm going to go drink Kool-Aid, and I'm going to say my visceral, in my unhealed trauma business, and I'm going to continue saying human suffering and evil change people, da-da-da. So do you see my point? This is where on YouTube, when I see some of those people, that's all that I noticed, and then others out there with their movies. So I got to bring you a different spin, which is the essence of you. Oh, it don't change unless you are the one who turns your back on what is love. And that's because some people, they have a Zen master, tells them all about laundry in their body. I got emotions in my body, and I know how to use them. I know how to go and say, hey, Mom, I want a hug. I'm having a panic attack. Or, whatever. I'm afraid. I'm angry. Angry, I don't get that angry. But my point is, this is called, you have a good relationship with emotions. You have a good relationship with life. Oh, and being a mystic is really fun. And that's because it's actually something that it's not a gift. It doesn't make some people more special. It is, when I first began to have this ability to be connected to the collective, knowing and hoping it's supported is what I was happy about. Then I realized it's not true. I realized that the only way people will be moved is if they become aware. And then I saw that we got to get educated because of all the attachment trauma information. And that's when I knew the collective that is actively supporting people to process, witness, and tend to the trauma charges and to heal are those who are sharing the bountiful of information. And then the mystics are also supportive with our lovely Reiki masters, Akashic record readers, tarot card, the ones who are proactively supporting people in personal development, self-help, in the spiritual awakening to move into loving more people, not less. The ones who are on Elsa's journey, they're the 4D collective, so they are selective in a way of Cusco attitude. So you'll notice that they will say things like pain is what makes you grow, dark night of soul, ego death, there's shadow side, light side. So they keep on flipping their switch and not actively understanding that it's from the left and right that you build resiliency. So it's when the emotions come up and you don't do the structural dissociation of doing a storytelling bit. You say, oh, I have emotions, I have thoughts. Okay, let me sit with them. And you do the inner growth mindset, for example, stuff, but in neutrality. So neutrality and duality. Oh, I have things that happen that I don't like. I have things that I'm thinking. Okay, well, I don't need a story. The story is not going to change the feeling. The feeling is coming up. I've seen it. I'm processing it. Oh, you know what? I'm going to go have a moment where I share with someone that I love what's going on. That's good. Create a heart-to-heart connection. Or, you know what? I'm going to go for a swim today or for a run. I'm going to go do those things that bring my body into a state of my ventral vagal. And that's how you create resiliency. Not evil, unkindness, people, life changes. Don't tell me life doesn't change you. Of course it changes. It breaks your heart and brings you up. And I was a teenager once too. It's stuff all fancy and dancing, but it's your limbic system. So you're not learning how to harness your embodied brain at all. You're not doing prefrontal cortex. That's why the Zen master is going to sound more appealing who says you got laundry in your body. It means that every time you cry or you get angry or you get surprised, disgusted, or fearful, you're going to be completely not overwhelmed. If you're overwhelmed, then you need a good therapist, but you're going to feel it from the limbic system. So it's like the oceans, as Tara Brach explains it. She has a great meditation or mindfulness video. It'll help anyone get out of it, but you want to do it every time it happens. And that's why people, they get out of therapy and they say, I don't want to do personal development, life, anything, or self-help. Life coaching, they're all bullshit. Yeah, it's bullshit because you don't understand that emotions are going to keep coming up. You're alive, you're breathing. It's not, the equation, it's mathematical. So on that note, again, the essence of you stays the same if you choose to stay the same, which is unconsciously loving, because that's pure consciousness, by the way. Not a hard one, huh? Yeah, so divine feminines, we know that, by the way. It's why we don't have a saga or drama when our twin flame or flames come about. I have the honor of having 3. I was expecting the first one without knowing it, 7 days prior to them being made themselves aware, basically presenting. Same thing with the other one. The third, this was different because completely, it was a very interesting situation, is all I'm going to say. But I got a double whammy on that one, and then I got soulmates. And the soulmates, they wiggle their way in a very interesting and, I have to say, beautiful way. And all of those relationships, they end up having the capacity to stabilize over time because the divine feminine, again, our nurturing is a nurturer. That's it. You don't have to stick around, and I'm not containing you. You're not on a leash. You don't have a role. You don't have to be anywhere near me. Oh, that rabbi, when he tells you that masculines, they have a hard time to commit. You know what I think about commitment? One, I'm polyamory, so it's very easy for me to say your commitment is nothing except for whatever you want to enjoy. And that's because I'm an independent lover and I have things to do too. So that's one. But also, again, consensual non-monogamy. So while some talk about that as unfaithful, I talk about it as, no, it's called we can love more than one person. It's actively compersion. But I get it. Some people, they don't like this thing because, there's a whole bunch of different reasons. But what I was trying to get to is the fact that the masculine has a hard time to commit. I'm going to say you're not a masculine to feminine. But I also am going to say me needing to limit you, you're not a masculine. It's called a baby. I didn't want a baby as a partner. I didn't know that that's what partners are. The fact that you will need tells me that just one thing. Your 1 year old, where's the owner? Your 3 year old, where's the owner? Did you not know that we all wake up in the morning with secondary consciousness, getting to deal with the unknowns? Because that's what it is. I'm going to die too. I don't like it as much as anybody else. I don't make it into a dramatic session of I have no meaning from the depth of me. So that's what I think. When someone says they need to be needed, you don't know how to know that, yeah, you wake up, you give meaning, you take it away. It's called human condition for Maria. Called human dilemma for, what are they? Existential psychologists. I'm going to say there's plenty of enlightenment people in mystic land, aren't there? Which is the other part that gets me with those of faith, those of spirituality, those who want to use this word. I'm wondering, where is the capacity for you to become comfortable with this aspect of complete death? I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying you will be presented with it. It was my first thing that I expanded from. Thanks, Marcus Aurelius. That's who taught me how not to worry about something I can't do anything over. Doesn't mean I'm over it. No, I just know how not to wake up from sleep and cry. As a child, I would do that because I was like, I don't want to forget all my loved ones. I don't want to die. And here's why, as a divine feminine and a person who knows myself, when I got to have one of my first astral travel dreams, I got to see my future life. And people think I'm not now, not Maria. Future, I'm not Maria. I don't even know what year it is. Don't ask me. I remember that dream to this day, and I shared it with some people. And eventually, I was able to find out who my husband is. And that's because I'm a mystic. And then I was also able to find out who the other two people were. And then the other two, and then the other two. So the evil people in my dream. And it's not a dream again for mystic, but I got to know who those. I still don't know who my children are. And my family teases because none of them are in it. I said, look, I didn't get to scout the entire ship. I don't know how many of you are there or not. I got to find out why the Earth babies aren't going to be with me, because I have some Earth babies that are part of my oversoul. That made me sad. And that's then again something I say, it doesn't matter. It's in your imagination, one. Two, you won't remember being Maria, so you won't forget and you won't remember. Because also the future is very different than now. And that's because of a lot of things which I don't need to chit chat about, because that was not the point of why I was sharing it. But I was sharing to say, I know that the day I found out who my future husband was, I was so happy, because I was like, now I know who's going to be with me. Yay. Because I don't like not knowing. And that's our human secondary consciousness, which I don't have any shame in admitting. That's the part. When you have the capacity to know yourself, you don't say, I'm not afraid, I don't feel, I don't know. This is all feeling, feeling, ooey, ooey, ooey. But you have the capacity to be comfortable with it. Now, I don't know where you come from, meaning where you're at with your emotional plane, but for me, emotions are beautiful, which is why it is a pity those people who don't know what love truly is. And truly means it's something that keeps on soaring. It doesn't ever die, not for those of us who have healthy self-worth. And so join us for healthy self-worth, self-help, spiritual, and 5D mystics. Obviously, you're more than welcome aboard. I don't know how many of you are out there, but I know I was bored with 4D mystics pretty quickly. The minute they started to say we were anointed, I was like, that's egoic. Not anointed, that's a word you don't want to use unless you're going to the very place to get anointed. You're actively not. No need to get all pissy in our pants. It's not the, era of the witches. I get it. Some people, they take words really seriously, but, you don't need to go around with your witch capes and, so that's a lot of different things that happen online and that you get to see. I don't like to tease any of, specific groups in the way of saying that they need to dismantle. No, like with flat earthers, I don't see a problem with it. I wish they would use their brain differently, but that's because I have the amygdala of mine saying they could use it to help the environment because they're smart. You know what I mean? So the part about dismantling, the only people who dismantle something are the same ones who still have a shoe in their a rock in their shoe, a pebble that they're trying to get out, so they're bothered by it. And that's why we have, again, different voices and stories, because every person has something different that they're looking into as they move through life. And social media is where they can find it. And so the ones who want to dismantle that which is faith, you can't dismantle it, one. But I can understand why so many people are upset, because that's the point. None of the people of true faith are represented. They're not represented by those who want to divide us. Not at all. So no one wants to dismantle anything, but if you can't hear the voices of those of us who love, and you can only hear the voices of those who are with pitchforks, well, I mean, the pitchforks are no longer what we are. And, that's the part. And also, that's not about faith. That's about 14-month-olds and in-groups and out-groups, which are all there for people who are only using the left mode, and that right mode has decided we're with our group and we don't like that group. And then you see them trying to poke at each other like, I can touch you, I can't touch you. And then we look from afar like, okay, so they're doing all that. Okay, what do we do over here? Well, we have this one word, spirituality. And that just happened organically because everything is spirituality now. And only the ones who want to be, I don't like that, are the ones who we don't actively pay attention to in that way. There's your group over there. They're using your words. We're using our words. Have fun. We'll see you later if you want. We don't have to. So thanks for tuning in. I hope you liked, shared, and subscribed. Know that you like, share, and subscribe. And thank you again. Have a great one.